Hi, Amy.
Abby.
Last night we watched 90 Day Fiancé, Season 11, Episode 17. Did you like it?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't as I want to say it wasn't as exciting or as great as last week, but we still had some great moments and some challenging moments and some irritating moments. It was still worth watching. What are your thoughts?
I agree completely. No further notes. Let's
Perfect.
dive right in.
All right.
Starting with 1, 2, rate, review. Follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch us on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé. Honestly, now that that's out of the way, shall we dig in?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Let's start with Stevi and Mahdi. I love how this starts with Stevi being too tired to answer Mahdi's burning question. This is like, how can you be too tired to say yes or no?
This has been dragging on for quite literally 17 episodes.
Yes. And your point is?
I mean, I think it was an answer worth waiting for, don't you?
Yeah. The way that it was answered, and then we had the post interviews with them talking about how they felt about it afterwards, was quite meaningful. At last, I felt like we were getting somewhere. I saw some real emotion in Stevi. I've really felt that she actually had some regret over stringing Mahdi along for so long, not giving him an answer, playing with him.
Yes. I thought it was really telling when she said that she allowed him to worry about it for longer than she should have. And I was like, ooh, that's gross.
Yeah. Letting him knowingly be upset by something that she could have resolved by just giving him an answer one way or the other. What was she doing it for? Was it for fun? No, she says it was out of defensiveness to protect herself because she was getting hurt. Okay, whatever. I understand. However, it does feel really crappy to make your future husband to be feel so alone, so isolated from because you're not being honest with him.
Yeah.
Deliberately keeping him in the dark as she did. But she does answer.
Do you think that her answer was genuine?
That is a tough question. I thought initially her answer was genuine. Then when Mahdi goes on to say, okay, so I'm accepting that you're saying you're not bi, but did anything happen in the past? Like, was there anything ever? I didn't buy that, no, because it just doesn't seem right. The way that, and then when they were showing the clips of all the times that he's asked her and she answers, every time that she's about to answer this question, her eyes dart to one side, like she's avoiding.
Yeah.
Avoiding.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is something of a bit of truth in that. She has experienced some kind of relationship or closeness with another woman, but she's just not willing to admit it.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she answered. I'm glad that this is put to bed. And again, it's always like a day, if not the day of, a day before, a day of the wedding where all of this is resolved. Okay, great, whatever. And then when Saeed said that he wanted to go talk to her, I was like, oh, dear Lord, know your place, back up, calm down. But when he walked in, I'm glad he backed down and he just said, I hope the best for you. Whatever he said, it was non-accusatory. It was okay.
Are you talking about when he went in to see
Stevi.
Mahdi or Stevi? Okay.
Stevi,
because
yeah.
when he went in to see Mahdi, the language that he was using there was just despicable.
Oh, yeah.
So manipulative, psychologically, like giving one thing as a, oh, well, do you really believe that? And I don't think that it's real. Like, it was just so mind bending. I can't even conceive of being able to have that kind of a conversation with somebody who supposedly is your friend.
Yeah.
Suggesting, oh, well, Mahdi, you don't know everything about her, and casting doubt and casting aspersions. Are you really happy? Do you really believe that? He's a worm. This is garbage. This is just dirty garbage. And I wanted him to shut up and go away. But when they then moved to him going upstairs to go have the discussion with Stevi, and him prefacing that by saying, oh, I feel responsible for Mahdi's happiness, so that's why I'm doing all of this. That's why I'm going to go confront her. And I think he even uses the word confront, which is What?
That kind of concerned me as well.
That it was such a ridiculous plot twist, so out of the ordinary, so just at odds with what you would expect, how you would expect him to behave, given that Mahdi has just told him everything's fine, we've resolved it, it's okay, I'm happy, everything's good. It has to be production driven. It has to be. Because why would he do this?
Yeah, because it felt like, he was so hard on Mahdi at first. And then when he goes to talk to Stevie, he's just, no, I'm just, I'm here to support you guys, or whatever he said. And I think that my brain just completely overlooked all of the conversation with Mahdi because it was such BS. And I only focused on how surprising it was that he backed down when he went to go talk to Stevie.
But he didn't really, because he just said that as an opening. And then, Stevie, I'd like to have some time alone with you before the wedding, meaning I'm going to deliver all this garbage that I have to deliver to you, but I want you not to have your friends around you so that nobody can defend you or tell me that I'm being an idiot and kick me out.
Was it not resolved?
No, because no, it is not resolved.
Well, that's what I get for watching it as I was getting ready to leave the house. Sorry about that.
Is the cliffhanger. We don't know what he's going to say to her.
I thought it was just, he went in, he said, I'm happy for you too, I support you, and then that was it. But I think that may have been when I left my computer.
Okay.
Okay, that's on me. I apologize. That's totally on me.
Now I'm doubting myself, but that was my impression, that we're going to get the rest of this conversation next week or whenever, and we will find out what it is that he wants to say to Stevie in private, moments before their wedding.
Okay.
Silly.
Well,
can we talk about the dress thing though? Because I thought that was hilarious.
That she bought it and it was too big?
No.
Or no, the one that had just arrived that morning?
So we saw her try on the one dress in front of Mahdi, and he said it makes you look old.
And it did.
And so that one obviously got tossed aside. Then she ordered a second dress, which is the one that she had with her at the hotel room. She was planning on wearing it that morning and talking about how it doesn't really fit her very well. So she's worried about how she's going to look. I was like, why did you not figure this all out beforehand, Stevie?
And then her friend brings another one.
Yeah, 3 dresses. What the heck? I mean, she excels at buying dresses that look terrible on her. So are we really expecting that this third dress is going to be the one that breaks the pattern?
And quick delivery as well, am I right?
Yeah. Okay. It just struck me because I don't think we've ever seen this before on 90 Day, with a bride having so many dresses, all of which are terrible, with the exception, perhaps, of the third dress, which we have yet to see.
Yeah. Shan't talk about the preview.
No, not yet. Shall we read on?
Yes.
Shekinah and Sarper, who are still having their discussion in the cafe after Shekinah tracked him down.
This was infuriating.
Tell me what got your ire up.
She puts this tracking device on his keychain, claims that it's only in case he loses his keys. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why didn't you tell him about it? Wouldn't that make him feel more comfortable knowing that if you lose your keys, I have this tracking device, we can find it? But no, it was for a nefarious purpose because she doesn't trust him. If it wasn't if it was an innocent reason, she would have told him, but she didn't. And then, I completely forgot that I could do that. No, you didn't forget. You did not forget. And then,
of course not, because she still knows that she can track her keys if they get lost.
Yeah, I never think to look at it unless we lose our keys for something. But now she lost him. He's not answering her texts. He's not picking up her phone calls. Okay, that's not innocent. She kind of is an asshole. And then she accuses him of making a big deal about it.
There was a long, long list of things that Sarper is doing wrong, according to Shekinah.
Yes.
And it was astonishing. She's trying so hard to make him responsible for everything, even though in this moment she should really be apologizing to him about the AirTag, saying, I had no right to do this without telling you. I'm so sorry. Instead, she's pushing away the responsibility, shoving it onto him, pushing things under the carpet. Okay, we don't need to deal with that. We're going to get married in 24 hours or whatever the timing is. And so we're going to deal with that later. Like, okay, calm down, lady. Then it's
Calm
your,
down.
yes, calm down, Shekinah.
That's your favorite.
You're hiding, you're running away, you're being scared, you're distracting me from this issue or that issue, and you're not sure even if you want to get married. So unsupportive.
Yep.
Like the first thing he said to her when she said, "What's going on?" was, "I'm scared."
Yeah.
And instead of being compassionate, like we said last week, instead of understanding him and saying, "Okay, well, what is going on? Why are you scared?" It's just problems. Here you go. They're all yours.
Yeah. Instead of saying, how can I help? I'm really sorry that you're feeling this way. Let's talk it through. What can I do to make you feel supported?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It's all, you ran away. You did this. You, with absolutely no understanding. And as we said last week, like we didn't know about the abusive relationship that he was in, but apparently she did. And at no point is she trying to comfort him, to give him any kind of
Reassurance.
thank you. That's perimenopause. Am I right? Sorry, aging myself. But it just the way that she was talking to him is like, it's just the way that she talks to him.
Yeah.
And I really don't like that for him.
The way that she came in to this conversation saying things like, "Okay, well, what do you need?" Like aggressively, not, "Tell me what you need.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
How can I help?
What do you need?
Yeah.
Do you need more time?" There is no more time. Like she was
offering,
what's he
you
supposed
need
to do
time.
with
We
that?
have no time. Like, what's the purpose of asking if he needed more time and then cutting yourself off?
Yeah. So if it's not an option, why are you even talking about it?
Yeah.
She's insufferable, really.
Yes. And she does not get better throughout this entire episode.
Well, I disagree because she did offer, okay, look, if the prenup is getting you riled up and anxious, let's look at it later on once we're married and we'll do a postnup instead.
Okay,
So
you're right.
That was nice of her.
I forgot about that. You're right. She did offer that compromise.
She was offering that compromise only because she was afraid that he would back out of the wedding, and she didn't want him to do that. So it is kind of a double-edged sword. Like she is recognizing that he needs a little bit more space to think about this, and yet she's also pushing him towards the marriage without having resolved this issue.
Well, I mean, how many of the couples have we seen have unresolved issues and they just get married anyway?
I can't think of any. None. How strange.
There goes my memory again.
Well, they get together at last. They get their stuff. They go to visit this venue where they're going to have the wedding.
A hotel room.
Unusual. Slightly tacky.
Mm.
Yes, would you agree?
I think what was awful was she hadn't even checked the place out. Every time that I went, it was occupied. Okay, can you not see another room that is like it? Like, unless it's one of these boutique hotels where every single room is completely different. Like, what was your thought process? And then she has like this huge breakdown because the bed isn't under the chandelier and the chandeliers are over the dining room table. My Lord. How awful is that? Who designed this space? Who decided to put the dining room table under the chandeliers and to put the bedroom to put the bed in the bedroom? Like, oh my stars.
Exactly. That's what I thought. Not really, not remotely. The fact that she ends up in tears, is sulking, is whining and complaining. And meanwhile, of course, her face does not move one fraction of an inch.
But at least she had tears.
She did, yes. But she did go to the bathroom first. So I wondered if she went to the bathroom to like wet too much. Okay.
Poke herself in the eye.
Yeah, maybe. But it was hilarious that she hadn't had the opportunity to check it out first. And so she was so gravely disappointed.
And yet, she's such a control freak and, such a perfectionist. I think she said perfectionist, not control freak. She's such a perfectionist. But as a perfectionist, wouldn't you want to make sure that your venue is appropriate, proper, fits the bill before the day of your wedding? Well, no.
No, that's far, far too planned out and organized. How did she not go there before? I do not understand.
But anyway,
I thought it was just very poetic justice.
Yeah.
That it's tired, it's worn out, it's dated, the floors have got marks all over them. it is kind of cheap looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then rather than say, okay, what am I going to do about this? Let me think. Let me gather myself. She just goes into this tantrum, complains about how, oh, I'd rather just have a courtroom or courthouse marriage, which obviously Sarper's very disappointed in. And then she has to bring a friend who's able to think coherently, logically, and the friend is able to figure out how to move the furniture so that, oh my goodness, you can actually have the bed under the chandeliers like she wanted to. It's just all so juvenile.
I want to know who these gentlemen were that dismantled the bed and moved everything around, because it looked like they did things very efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine going in there and being like, I need you to dismantle this bed, put it over here, whatever. This is what we need it to look like, without even knowing how that bed was put together?
Yeah.
Like that would take like a little bit of trial and error, but they seem to do it seamlessly. Who were these men? Was it the production crew? Because if it was, they deserve a raise.
I
Otherwise,
think it was staff from the hotel because they were all wearing the same outfit and there were
or was it?
women there,
Oh,
not just men.
sorry. You're right. You're right. There were.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the memory. I thought it was just so ridiculous. Like, I don't think I have never been to a place where there have been chandeliers over the bed.
Of course not, because you could hit your head on the chandelier. The reason why you have them over a table is because people don't tend to walk under tables or put
Walk
their head
over
on,
tables.
or walk over the tables, or crawl on the tables, or squat on the tables. It is just generally considered a safe place to have a dangling light fixture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we don't get anything else, do we?
Well, the whole beauty routine. She's like, I really enjoy
Oh my
having
lord.
this beauty routine, which apparently seems to be new to him.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the whole leg thing about? I thought it was hysterical when he was like, are you going to execute me? Or are you going to like disable my legs because
Yeah.
you don't want me to run away?
I
I,
have no idea what those bags were on his legs, if it was compression or heat or ice. No clue.
and
Nothing.
your
Don't know.
wedding is going to occur in said bed, and presumably you're going to have sheets on it. So what's going to happen to his legs that matter?
I think there were two bedrooms because when he was waking up the next morning and talking to us, it was a bed that had a headboard, the same blue headboard as the other one, but it was up against a wall. And the other one was up against sort of kind of near the window. So I think that this suite that they had was at least two bedrooms and they were sleeping overnight in the one bed in the other bedroom. The wedding bed is saved for special. I don't know.
I just thought the whole
Still
thing was
weird.
so strange. And then even Sarper was saying, like, this it's hard work to be beautiful. And I'm like, well, have you looked at her?
She's had many
Beauty.
procedures.
Beauty is subjective, is it not?
Yes. And if you have enough money to have a surgeon to rearrange the features of your face so that you can look any which way you want, it becomes a lot easier to be beautiful in quotation marks, because I don't find those lips beautiful at all. They just, every time I see them, I just go, oh, that must be so painful. They're so freakishly inflated.
I wonder if she has to watch the weather report for the wind. What
And the
happens?
humidity, the pressure,
Yeah, I
the
wonder if they
relative pressure.
swell. That's a good question. It's a
Like when
really
she
good
goes
question.
into an airplane, do they deflate because the pressure in the cabin is, you know how your water bottle gets all scrunched up when you descend after
Yeah.
a flight?
Yeah,
So
and
does that
how
happen
the
for
bubbles
hers?
dissipate so quickly from your bottle of bubbly on the
Yeah,
plane. That's why you
because
gotta
they're
drink it quickly. But then, in her aside, just before their segment ends, she said she's worried because she's not entirely sure he's gonna show up for the wedding.
what? He's
Are
in the
you?
same hotel room as you.
Yeah,
Where's he gonna go?
yeah. And not just that, but you had the AirTag on his keys. I mean, now he knows about it, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just left his keys. If I were him, I would make like a second set of keys so that you can
Yeah.
still lock the door
Mm-hmm.
and get in, but she can't track you.
Yeah.
But also, we've been talking about their trust issues for so long, and it really highlights it. I'm so done with her. I'm not done with him. I could watch quite a bit more of him, but she has no redeeming qualities in any capacity. Not only is she, I want to say she's an overproduced, but over like medically modified, and she's just like, she's just an awful human being, or at least from what we're seeing. I don't want to see any more of her. I think I said that earlier today. I think she's an actual bitch, and Sarper really deserves so much more. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he has some redeeming qualities, as we've seen now. He didn't really have them at the beginning, but he has them now, and she has just continued to get worse and worse and uglier from a personality perspective.
The only time I really feel compassion for Shekinah is when her family members are around and you get to see how awful they are, how
Her
badly they
sisters,
treat her, how
yeah,
badly they treat Sarper as well. And then I start going, yeah, I can understand why she's so screwed up.
yeah, that's fair.
Shall we read on?
Shall we?
Yes.
One of my favorite parts.
So the throuple is up next. I know you have a lot to say about Mott, Amani, and Ani. Do you want to just go ahead and start telling me your thoughts?
Okay, first of all, I really want to clap because I was really excited that they went to a tequila farm.
Yes.
I've never been to one before, and that looked like so much fun. And when they were on the swing, I think it was Ani and Amani, and they were swinging back and forth. I really wanted one of them to go ass over tea kettle, and that comment in and of itself made me laugh because I don't think I've ever actually said that before. And then, when Amani was talking about the wedding and how, she really wants Ani to choose her, then I laughed again and I was like, oh, is Matt going to be the ring bearer?
That would be a good role for him.
I think it would be appropriate, though I think a dog would be cuter. And then Ani says that Ani has to choose who she wants to marry tomorrow, specifically tomorrow, so that they can start the K1 visa process. And I laughed and I was like, yo, don't you have to get divorced first?
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Yes. So why? Yes. So why does she have to make that decision tomorrow? She was saying later in the episode, she felt bad about, pressuring her and blah, blah, blah. We'll get to that. But, perhaps you're unnecessarily pressuring her to make all of these decisions based on your unilateral timeline. That makes absolutely no sense.
Is it only because it's their last day in Mexico and that's why it has to be tomorrow?
Or maybe it's the last day that they're filming in Mexico and they wanted to get that on film when they're all together so that she could acquiesce, I guess, on TV. But it's in reality, she doesn't need to make that decision. But the fact that she made her make that decision. And in Amani's aside, she was saying, that's the greatest thing about a throuple is, you get to have 3 weddings.
Yeah, that made no sense to me.
Excuse me?
I was trying to do the math. I was like, 2 people, that's 1 wedding, two other, that's 2 weddings. What?
Yes. So she wants to have a wedding in her culture. She wants to have an American wedding, and she also wants to have a Mexican wedding. And she said, oh, I've always dreamed about having this big wedding. And, her and Matt got married with a coupon in Vegas, which I thought was relevant and telling. Like, at no point did you think, instead of being part of a throuple, maybe we should just do a vow renewal and then a vow renewal.
I'd like to renew a vowel, please.
I'll take an E, possibly an A, because there's so many in this relationship. But personality and names, am I right? And then, dreaming about this wedding and, worrying about what if she does choose Matt, and it's exhausting.
That is the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
It is exhausting.
And, she's so selfish and manipulative, being like, is anyone going to pick me? Am I not good enough? And yet you've been married to this man for 11 years. You have 2 kids. Has he not already chosen you? Why is this such a big deal with her? It's because you have something empty within yourself, which is not going to be fulfilled by a third person. You need therapy.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Okay.
Yes.
Let's close the book on that one and move on.
Well, I'm not done.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. I haven't said anything yet. Let's go.
So then when Ani finally says, she wants to marry Matt because she feels like there needs to be like a man to head the family, we later find out that she wants, I think it's near the end where she says she wants Matt to, like, she wants to marry Matt because he's reasonable, and Amani is so hot-headed and explosive, and I was like, Yes. But did you not think about what her reaction would be when you tell her? Well, when you tell them?
Two things.
I have so many things going.
I just have two. One is, of course, she knew what Amani's reaction would be. And did you not think it was a deliberate choice? Because she knows this is the only tool she has to work on Amani, is to incite her jealousy and to bring up all those bad feelings and to make her react. And to, Jesus Christ, now my menopause brain is gone. To, oh, yes, no, something about marrying Matt. What were you saying about marrying Matt?
Because he's reasonable and level-headed, logical. I mean, theoretically. But, she needs a strong man to front the family.
Yeah, I have no idea what I was going to say about that anymore. It's completely gone.
All
but
right.
I feel very much like this was a deliberate decision on Ani's part, that she knew exactly what she was doing. Because we've seen this from her before, where she knows what's going on. Like when she manipulated Amani and saying, like, I love you best. I love you more than I love Matt. So you're the reason why I'm in this relationship. And yet she's choosing to marry Matt?
Yes.
Excuse me? What?
Yes. Oh, I love you so much more than I love Matt, but let me marry Matt because it fits more in with my patriarchal upbringing.
Exactly. And the religious upbringing. So it makes more sense to her family. It's more acceptable to them. And then, if they're in a situation where they're talking to acquaintances who don't necessarily have to or want to know that Ani is in a throuple, they can simply say she's married to Matt and not even mention Amani. Yeah, the reaction that Amani has here was so hilarious to me. The entitlement in her face.
Oh, entitlement. Yes, I didn't write that down, but you're right.
When she says, I've worked twice as hard as Matt in this relationship, I just went, what the hell are you talking about?
What does that mean?
Exactly. What does working twice as hard as Matt mean? I think Matt has been working pretty hard to deal with both of these women and juggling their conflicting and very acrimonious feelings towards each other and
personalities.
Him. Okay. Then Ani says, I don't want to be with you because you're the boss. You want control. You create a lot of stress. Okay. So here was my other point that I forgot earlier. I'm going to marry Matt instead of you because he's more calm. But you are still in a relationship with Amani. It's not like because she's marrying Matt, she's going to go live in a house with him and they're going to be alone. They're all going to live together. How are you supposed to escape this person who you've just labeled as basically a controlling bitch? You can't.
Unless she's trying to ice her out so that she can get with Matt, so that it's just her and Matt. And, Amani somehow leaves, which I can't see happening. It's not happening. That's going to be that tenant that you've been trying to evict for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And you take them to the board so many times and they keep winning. Anyway, and Amani was saying that, she would have found out what Ani's decision was at some point, but now that she knows what her decision is, she really wishes that she didn't know. Then how is your quote unquote relationship supposed to continue?
Yeah.
You're ridiculous. And now she's going on about how, she's done something wrong and maybe, had she not pushed her so much, she would have made a different decision and maybe not.
When she did that self-pitying remark, something along the lines of, I didn't realize I was so awful to be married to.
I guess I must be difficult to be married to. I wrote that down.
That's the one.
But I loved it when Ani clocked her. You already brought it up that Amani wants to be in control and, Matt's more calm and reasonable. But even if this wasn't fake as shit,
which it is,
I know. But if she were to get married to Matt, I can totally see her trying to completely ice Amani out because now Ani is in the power. She has the power because now she's the wife. And Amani is technically the other woman.
Interesting dynamic switch.
Yes. And I think Ani has proven at this point that she's smarter than the two of those put together.
Absolutely.
So I'm almost rooting for her, but I'm not quite sure how, because I don't want her to be in this relationship. But if she is, it's so fake. So it's really hard to specify what I want to see or how I see it. But God, Amani is just so manipulative. And again, I guess I must be difficult to be married to.
Classic.
Oh, the
So
tiny
fitting.
violins are playing for you. Where is that accent coming from? What is that?
I don't know.
Anyway, let's move on to bigger and better things.
All right. Are we ready? Are we sufficiently appeased?
I don't.
May we read on?
Yeah, I have so much cat hair all over my face.
Okay, remove the cat hair while I introduce the
Yes.
next lovely couple, Greg and Joan. I'm so happy.
Yay!
It's their wedding day. Well, we knew that last week because they started their wedding day but didn't finish it. So Lucille is making the phone calls to alert all the guests to the fact that they should be arriving a little bit earlier than was printed on the invitations. No problem. Everything is fine.
And it's only 2:30. It doesn't start until 6:30. I think this is a very appropriate level of effort that his mom is putting in. I think it's wonderful that she's making the phone calls. Why isn't he making any phone calls?
Okay, but he, I thought, was texting people because he said, we've got to make these calls or get in touch with these people. So I thought that they were either tag teaming the phones or he was doing texting while she was calling. Don't think that.
Either way,
Yeah.
just maybe it was, just the editing because it just showed Lucille calling and her spending too much time on the phone and Greg harping on her, be like, is this going to be every phone call? Like, we have so many people to talk to. Also, how many people are coming to this wedding?
80.
And he wasn't even on his phone. He was just sitting there, like massaging his brow, and at least there wasn't bread on it this time. Oh God.
Okay, well, what are you watching and what am I watching? Because they seem to be totally different shows. He was on his phone the whole time.
Was
and
he?
He was definitely texting.
Oh, okay. So I guess I can't be doing what I was doing this morning.
What were you doing?
It's getting ready for work.
Okay. All right. My only question this week that concerns food is, did Greg at least make the bread for the wedding?
Probably
and
not.
that question, sadly, was not answered by any of this episode.
Do we even know that there was bread at the wedding?
We do not. We were not privy to the food.
God, that makes me so mad.
Me too.
But then if he did make the bread for the wedding, I think that would have been a fantastic way for him to showcase his skills, question mark. And then I would wonder, did he fondle every piece of bread?
And sweat on every piece of bread.
Yes. But I would think because his parents paid for the venue and all the food and whatever, I don't think that he had anything to do with that. And if he didn't, I still give him a pass because the night before with all the dancing and the music, like he went over and above for that. And, even with his mistake with the wedding invite, I still think he gets a pass for that. I really feel his stress because he really wants things to go perfectly for Joan. And at no point did he say it's about him. It's all about Joan. And I loved that because he could have just been like, this looks awful on me. I don't like this. It was all, I'm really upset because I don't want to upset Joan. I don't want to ruin this day for her. And that's not something that we see very often, or at least especially in this season. So I thought that was really sweet. And again, I could totally feel his stress.
Yeah.
But the venue was beautiful. Joan looked incredible.
Joan looked amazing. Her dress was fantastic. She looked absolutely stunning in it.
She looked like sheer perfection. Like I wouldn't have changed anything on that woman.
I loved her hair. I loved that it was on the side.
Yes.
That was fantastic. And the way the veil sat, everything was perfect.
It was so complimentary and like really showcased her natural beauty, unlike some people. Her natural beauty and her personality, like it was perfect. I think she looked perfect. And I think Greg looked fantastic as well. I have to say that.
The other perfect thing was their timing. Greg arrived 1 hour in advance of the ceremony.
Yes.
And Joan arrived completely on time. And that is because Joan is considerate of her guests, of her groom, and of the venue.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm mentioning that for no reason in particular.
Not at all. And she showed up in a classic car. I was obviously too busy to figure out which kind it was. A little aside, my grandfather used to do that as a business. He used to fix up classic cars and drive people around for their weddings. So I
Aw.
felt like a little bit of nostalgia when I saw that. I thought that was really beautiful. Yeah, I thought the whole thing was phenomenal. My only complaint was that we didn't get to see the food.
Yeah. That was very out of character. We usually see the food. We usually get to enjoy a little bit of an eye feast. None of that was present. One thing that I particularly loved, found to be very sentimental, was having Greg's dad walk Joan down the aisle. We haven't seen him or met him yet. We finally get to, so that was lovely. The other thing was very touching for me was that their vows were completely personal. They wrote their own vows. It was just so sweet. It really touched me that their emotion is so strong towards one another. Their love towards one another is so evident, so obvious in the way they speak to each other, treat each other, look at each other.
And speak of each other.
There's nothing more romantic than that. I did have a little tiny complaint, as you did, but this was not food related. It was that, remember how her family was attending via video on a screen, and they showed it a couple of times just for a few seconds, and we only saw that there was one woman there. It could have been her sister. I don't know exactly who it was. We didn't get to interact at all with whoever was on the other end of that call, and it seemed like such an insignificant part of the wedding ceremony when we knew that Joan's family had planned to attend but couldn't go because of visa issues. So I felt that was a little bit of a letdown.
Well, I wonder if there was more than one screen, and based on
Maybe.
editing, they only picked out like a couple of little clips.
Could be.
Maybe we'll see more in the next episode. Maybe we'll get to see, the actual reception and just more in the next episode. I mean, I hope so. But going back to your point about how palpable their love is, that reminds me of David and Sheila. And you know how much we love David and Sheila.
Yes.
It was just, I can't say anything else. It was so palpable. It was so loving. It was obvious. Sorry, this is making me miss David and Sheila, but it's really nice to have a couple that we can actually root for. And I know that, like, you specifically have been rooting for them from the very beginning. I remember before the show even started, you said, I really want to love this couple. I want this to work out. And then I got on board.
Yeah.
And I think it's so wonderful to see how well it worked out, how his parents rallied together to get the venue, how he went over and above for the night before, how phenomenal she looked, how on time they were. Like, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Loved it. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
For such, I don't know. I don't want to call us negative people, but negative about the show. This is just, it was so refreshing to see this. Like, it gave me hope for, we might actually see another couple that we can vouch for in the future. So thank you, producers, for giving us a couple that we actually really, really love.
Good job. Real people, real drama. Nothing, I think, too made up with Greg and Joan. Mark and Mina. Let's move on to them.
Don't have much, but yes.
Okay. We open with Mark following Mina down a hallway with a box of tissues in his hand.
Love that.
Still crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And true tears.
Okay. Absolutely true tears.
Real tears.
Mm-hmm. They're not false tears. They're true tears. She's still crying over the fact that Clayton won't be able to attend the wedding. So Mark comforts her. He suggests that why don't we have him attend via video? Again, this seems to be the tried and true way that most couples do it when their family members can't make it to the wedding. It's a great idea. At least Clayton will be able to see the wedding. So that's something. And Mina finds that enough is in place. She feels good enough about the situation that, yes, she will go ahead and marry Mark now, even though before she had threatened to leave if Clayton wasn't able to make it.
I think that was one of those false threats. I think based on every single couple that we've seen on the season, there's been at least one threat from every single person in each couple that has said, I won't get married if.
Right. Which is completely made up.
Right. So
Gotcha.
The fact that she said, I won't get married if Clayton can't come, knowing full well that it's entirely possible. And again, we still don't even know why he can't come unless she explained it while I was brushing my teeth. Like,
she did not explain it. We still do not know. It is a passport issue. That's all that was mentioned.
Okay. I feel awful for her, but again, from the very first episode, she's either a phenomenal actress or she actually really cares about having her kid there. Like, those were real tears. That was real emotion. Like, the squeaking that she made as she was crying, like, I felt that.
Mm-hmm.
True emotion.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. None
But
whatsoever.
I was really relieved when she was talking to Mark, and I felt like he was being very calm, compassionate, kind, and I appreciated when she said, "You know what? I'm fine to get married. Let's just do this." Like, it was almost like a resolve, like, there's nothing we can do to fix this. I don't want to elongate the process any longer. He can still attend via, I want to call it video conference, but that's business. Whatever. Just, he can be there in the way that he can be there. This isn't going to be the end of your relationship. I think that was great.
Their place where the emotion was very, very real, and I didn't feel like it was an attempt to manipulate us at all, is when she actually does get on the phone with Clayton via video, of course, and has to break the news to him that he's not going to be coming. His emotion was real. He started crying right away. And he asks if his mom misses him. I was just like, my heart broke when he said that, because it's been 3 long months. It is 90 days for this little guy to be separated from his mom, his sister, and who he calls daddy. So this is his family, and that hearing he has to wait even longer, not just miss the wedding, but obviously not be able to come anytime soon, must have been so horrible for him. So another real moment on the show that I appreciated, because it was true. And the one saving grace in this segment was that Mina says to Clayton, okay, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a special chair for you. We're going to put the screen on the chair, and that's your chair. You're going to be on video. You'll be able to see us and hear us, and we'll be able to talk to you. Like, so she's trying to make it as good as she possibly can for him.
As positive.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't, we're going to put you on, a table in the back. You might be able to hear us or not. Like, I feel like she's also making the effort to, like, I feel like she's behaving like a real mother should. Not, I was going to say, not having one of my own. We've seen so many couples, mothers, whatever, just completely disregard their children. But I feel like she's done everything that she possibly could. And, ensuring that she told him, I think, really upholds her integrity. And it really speaks volumes about her relationship with her kid, how much she loves him. And even Mark, obviously Mark's going to do anything he possibly can to ensure that she gets anything that she wants to make sure that he's comfortable. I think based on the situation, that she did everything that, from a childless person, that I would think that a mother would do.
I agree. There's only so much that they can do given the circumstances, and it is beyond their control.
Yeah. And, watching him break down was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how that felt for her, because we saw how disappointed she was. And even, when she first arrived, she was crying about the fact that he couldn't make the flight, and now he can't make the wedding. Like, that's so many folds of disappointment and sadness for her. Though I wouldn't be surprised if we ended the season with Clayton finally coming.
I hope so. That would be so nice.
I think that would be like is that the pièce de résistance?
Yes.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be so beautiful. I think that would be so heartwarming. I think that would be like the tearjerker moment of the entire season.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually hope that happens, because I don't think that we've actually gotten to meet him in person. It's always been via video. And, to see him interact with his mom, Mark, and Maria, I think that would be so beautiful. As much as I've shit on Mina and Mark in the past, like, they're growing on me. I think you can really see the love between them. And, I appreciate the efforts that they're putting in, and especially about her calling him and giving him the news. Like, could you imagine if it was her sister or her brother, whoever's with him right now, her friend, I can't remember, but like, for them to give him the news, that would be so much worse for him.
No,
for
of course it's got to come from his mother.
Mina to come on, break the bad news, but also have like a bunch of compromises in the background. Like, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do this. I think that was really well thought out and really well planned. I thought that was also a beautiful moment.
Let's move on to our last couple of this week's episode, Shawn and Alliya. Oh boy, where to start?
1 hour and 45 minutes late. And then Shawn goes up to the officiant and he says, do whatever you need to do to make it legal.
Well,
How romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic. When we start off and he's obviously enraged, he's barely holding it together, but he's trying very hard to be civil
Totally
to Jackie,
fair.
to Alliya. And Alliya you can see it in her face. Like, she is stunned. She doesn't know where to look or what to do to say. She just stands there at the top of the stairs for so long with a frozen smile on her face. And he
that
says,
frozen, awkward smile, like,
yeah, he says, you've got to come right away. We're going to do the ceremony as quickly as we can. And basically he says, let's get this over with, which is not what you want to hear on your wedding day. It's supposed to be romantic and you're supposed to savor every moment. Yay.
Yeah, but can you imagine being Shawn sitting there for an hour and 45 minutes wondering where she is? No text, no, like, and why couldn't the friend just pop out and be like, I've been trying to get her to hurry up. She is not hurrying up. I'm sorry. This is where we're at. What do I do? She does nothing. She defends Alliya. And then she's like, well, why is he so mad? Are you kidding me?
Jackie drives me crazy outside of any of
Jackie's
this.
the name?
Yeah, she has driven me crazy from the start. I mean, when she was in Brazil and she was asking Shawn about the prenup when they were going on that beautiful excursion to the waterfalls, and it was just completely inappropriate and rude. So we already know that Jackie doesn't have any
sense.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that. She doesn't have any sense. Alliya crying at the top of the stairs because she's so upset. She knows that Shawn is livid. And then also knowing, but this is all your fault, Alliya. And Jackie, because Jackie, it was your job to keep her on time and to make sure things just went according to schedule.
She failed as a time moderator, as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't imagine being in that position and being like, I'm so worried about the time as I'm doing my own makeup. Also, I would never do that on my own wedding day. Why would you do that? And then for her, like, again, as a moderator, like, where were you? Even from the very beginning, she's like, you have what, like 3.5 hours or something? And now she's down to like an hour and a half. And then what happened to the next 3 hours?
Yeah. Why did it end up taking Alliya 4 hours to get ready when she said it was going to take her an hour and a half to 2 hours? And what were they doing in the meantime? Jackie is obviously putting drinks in her hand and probably just chatting and distracting her so much that they can't get ready on time. Anyway.
As a friend, that would have made me so anxious. Be like, you need to get your shit together. Yeah. We need to leave in 5 minutes.
That's clapping. Yes.
I was so irritated by the whole thing.
Me too.
And then the fact that Jackie was all like, well, I don't know why he's so mad. Like, are you kidding me? His mom just had a fall and needs to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Alliya's taking her sweet time, and her makeup was beautiful, but it was very basic. Her wig didn't even look natural. She's looked so much better in, I want to say, every other scene. And it's not like it took her an hour to get into that dress. She put on a thong and then threw the dress on, and then that was it. Yeah. And, you know, Shawn even like did another wig that she could have just put on. It's like, where did the time go? And neither of them seemed hammered. So it's not like they were sitting there just like smashing back the champagne and listening to music and having a great time. Where did the time go? What were you doing?
That is a great question. I would love to know.
And also, I don't know if they had like a wedding planner or anything, but maybe someone from the venue could have been like, are you coming?
Well, it has also been suggested that Shawn, who knows Alliya and knows that she likes to take her sweet time getting ready, should have been on the ball and sending her measured texts every half hour or so. We have this much time left. Get going. Hurry up. I mean it. This is serious. Get your act together. But none of that happened. I don't think.
Not that we saw.
The point that I wanted to make here in this scene with Alliya at the top of the stairs and Shawn at the bottom and him telling her to rush, 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 let's just go get this over with, is that they both look like they'd rather be somewhere else or with someone else because it is so incredibly uncomfortable.
So awkward.
That uncomfortable feeling stays with them throughout the entire thing, not just going to the ceremony, having the ceremony, going to the reception building and then waiting for the guests there and having the reception. The entire evening is ruined. And it's not just ruined because she's wearing the world's ugliest wedding dress. It's so gaudy. I couldn't believe it watching it again, seeing it again, I mean, for the second time since last week. It's awful. The thong underneath is terrible. I don't know how she put this together when we've seen her wear fun stuff, great stuff, that pink suit, business suit that she wore to the visa interview. Like, she has taste. Why did she go so far off piste for this dress? I don't understand. But the bride and groom walking away from their wedding in total silence, not smiling at each other, not giving each other little kisses or saying sweet nothings to each other. This is not a happy couple.
This was an obligation wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's what it felt like. And, I've seen posts of what the dress was supposed to look like.
Okay.
Versus what she was actually wearing. And it was close, but it was so far removed, but close.
Okay.
And it's so hard to describe. I didn't send that to you, did I?
No, I have not seen that.
I was just so disappointed in that. Like, it was ill-fitting. It was tacky.
Mm-hmm.
And, Shawn was saying, like, we talked about this dress for so long. Like, did he not see it beforehand?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he actually said what his thoughts were on the dress. He just said they talked about it a lot.
No, I know, because she planned it. She designed it, and it was supposed to represent her journey from Douglas to Alliya, or from Brazil to... Like, there was supposed to be all kinds of elements of transformation and metamorphosis and all that garbage. But...
No, it was almost an exact replica of, I think it was a Cher dress.
Yeah. That I know that people made that connection as well, but what I read about the dress said that she had designed it. And
well, I have to find it and I have to show you, because it is almost like it's spot on. Like, there's no way that you could look at her dress and not think that's like a Temu version of what this should have been.
Okay.
And I can't see Shawn signing off on what that looked like, especially with the white thong. I think it would be different if it was nude or skin color or whatever you want to call it, or if there was that. I think we talked about it last
the
week,
opaque,
where it has like
flesh-colored
fabric
fabric on the inside, so that
it's
the illusion of nakedness without actually showing any skin. I know exactly. I agree with you. This was not a good choice, and it's just sad. But it is represented in the way that these two behave towards one another, in the way that things go completely awry. You had a great idea of this romantic California vineyard wedding, and it goes completely off the rails. Timing is bad. Your attitudes go down the toilet. Feelings are hurt. He makes the world's worst speech for his little toast.
Oh God, that was so awful.
It was insensitive. It was rude. He made her feel like shit by calling her out on her lateness, and things just seemed to spiral out of control. There is nothing good about this moment.
Nothing redeeming.
Not a celebration. It's not a celebration. It's a questioning. It's a, should we really be together if this is how we feel on our wedding day?
Well, we all already know how it turns out. My last comment is, she has no right to be so salty about what happened, because this was on her. You know what time it was supposed to start. You can't say you never checked your phone. You can't say that you never asked what time it was. I mean, she could argue that Jackie didn't say anything past like 5 o'clock or something, but ultimately it's on you. And I mean, I think I likened it last week to Mina, her being like 4 hours late to the baby shower. But at least you can still have a baby shower without the mother, but you can't have a wedding without the bride or the groom. We had the groom, but we didn't have the bride.
No. All right, let's move on from this very, very sad event. We didn't see Jessica and Juan this week. Next week, though, we will see them. Oh, and before that, we're going to see Jordan say some interesting things at Mark and Mina's wedding. Yay, can't wait to see what opinions she has now. Juan says he's all ready. Let's go get married. It's hours away from the wedding and he has not written a single vow. Love these couples who come prepared. We're going to find out if Stevie's dress is going to fit her or not. And I think we're also going to get some insight into what Saeed has to say to her. And Sarper and Shekinah's betting day has finally arrived. Joy, Amani is on the rampage. That'll be fun. And Matt has no clue as to why, what's going on, what's happening, who these people are.
From the preview, it looks like Amani is going to get violent.
Joy.
Another reason to cancel them.
Another reason. Finally, Shawn and Alliya are going to face off over this disgusting wedding fiasco we just witnessed. And that is it.
I want to make one last comment because apparently I had separated my commentary in my notes. The last note that I made about Shekinah and Sarper was Sarper had said to Shekinah, "You make everything miserable for yourself."
That is an excellent quote. Very, very spot on.
I had to highlight that when I got to the end. I don't know why I didn't put it up top. But anyway, an eventful episode, a lot of bullshit, but we had some great highlights, just some heartwarming part. Oh shit, I didn't even mention the food. When the throuple, when they get back to the hotel room, there's like sticking their feet in the tub, and then Amani is like, "Oh, I forgot to," I think she said, "drop the cake" or something. The cake looked delicious. Like a really light frosting. I think it was chocolate with some fruit on the top. It looked really good. And I think that's the only food that we got to see in this episode. And who am I if I don't mention the
nobody?
Thank you. That's my identity right there.
Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.